Zhang Yi opened the thick alloy door of the control room and reached out to turn on the light. The bright light illuminated the huge control room, and everything inside showed a gorgeous, futuristic style, like the control console of a battleship. Therefore, Zhang Yi likes to discuss problems with Yang Xinxin the most, because she is very smart, and like Zhang Yi, she is an absolutely rational person. Zhang Yi came to the control console and turned it on to receive the information sent by Xiao Honglian. Yang Xinxin also came to the control room. Zhang Yi said, "Come here and show me some information." Soon he got the information of the leaders and deputies of the major forces. Of course, there was no information about the Yangsheng base. However, among these materials, Zhang Yi really wanted to see the information of only two people, Yuan Kongye and Zheng Yixian. As for the others, it was completely a smokescreen to prevent Xiao Honglian from knowing his true purpose. Yang Xinxin sat next to Zhang Yi and watched him curiously open one document after another. "Brother, what are you doing? Can you tell me?" Zhang Yi did not hide his thoughts from Yang Xinxin. He took a deep breath and told Yang Xinxin everything he had seen in the snow worship cult camp during this period. At the same time, he also expressed his suspicions. Although there is no evidence at present, I think that the snow worship cult may be related to the Corpse Tide riot in Tianhai City this time. If there is really a huge conspiracy behind this, it will definitely pose a great danger to us. So I want to investigate this matter clearly. If I can't do it, I will be unable to sleep or eat. Yang Xinxin's eyes showed a look of surprise. Although she is not a conspiracy theorist, if it is really like what Zhang Yi said, the person who manipulates everything behind the scenes is definitely a top conspirator. Yang Xinxin did not rush to give her own opinion. After all, as Zhang Yi said, everything is just speculation at present. She came over and checked the information of Yuan Kongye and Zheng Yixian with Zhang Yi. The first thing Zhang Yi opened was Yuan Kongye's information. Xiao Honglian did not lie, and the information she collected was very complete. It records in detail Yuan Kongye's personal life, including her family background and growth experience. After Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin read her information carefully, they fell into silence for a long time, because the story about her is really unbearable to read. The basic summary is as follows. Yuan Kongye, 20 years old, is a mixed race of Chinese and Japanese, born in Nara Prefecture, Japan. His father's name is Yuan Suiyun, and his mother's name is my wife, Kamiko. Both of them are loyal believers of a sect called Shinri in Japan. When Yuan Kongye was 3 years old, he followed his parents to Tianhai City, China, and lived in number 256 Jinling Street, Changlan District. In the same year, Yuan Suiyun and my wife Kamiko established a branch of Shinri in Tianhai City. Shinri is listed as a cult organization in China and has been engaged in underground activities. Yuan Suiyun served as the leader of Shinri, and my wife Kamiko served as the high priest. In order to recruit believers, the couple lied that their daughter Yuan Kongye had divine power and designated her as the saint of Shinri. Relying on the instigation of religion, Yuan Suiyun's family soon possessed a huge fortune. Therefore, Yuan Kongye lived a wealthy life since she was a child. In the Shinri church, she was treated like a princess. However, this kind of life ended when Yuan Kongye was 16 years old. Her parents encountered a plane crash when they went to Neon Country to attend a Shinri church rally, and both of them died on the spot. After the death of Yuan Suiyun and my wife Kamiko, the followers of the Shinri church gradually realized that they had been deceived. The young Yuan Kongye was unable to control the situation, and the truth that she had no divine power was exposed. The doctrine of the Shinri church is that believers can obtain the gods by donating property, blessed by the gods, and can enter the kingdom of God after death. Even those who donate the most assets can choose the country to be reborn in the next life. Therefore, a large number of Shinri believers did not hesitate to go bankrupt and donate to Yuan Suiyun and my wife Kamiko. After the death of Yuan Suiyun and his wife, the angry believers wanted to take back their property. However, most of these properties have been squandered by Yuan Suiyun's family of 3. So, the angry believers vented their resentment on Yuan Kongye, who was only 16 years old. The Tianhai City Police received a call in 2046 and recorded the incident. The nature of the case is extremely bad. When Yuan Kongye was sent to the hospital, he had been tortured beyond recognition and had permanent lacerations in many parts of his body. However, because it involved a cult organization and too many people were involved, the subsequent handling method was more ambiguous. Since then, Yuan Kongye disappeared as if she had evaporated from the earth. When she appeared again, it was after the end of the world, and she suddenly transformed herself and became the leader of the snow worship cult. Relying on the means of bewitching people learned in the Divine Principle School, he gradually expanded his power and made the snow worship sect one of the largest organizations in Tianhai City. Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin fell into silence after reading Yuan Kongye's personal information. For a long time, the two of them were gasping for air, but they didn't know how to speak. Xiao Honglian worked in the police system before, so she knew the case very well and even had the contents of the file. According to the information, the number of people involved in the case was as many as 136. So it is hard to imagine how miserable Yuan Kongye's experience was. After a long time, Zhang Yi said, "Isn't it strange that such a person can become the savior in the end times?" He looked at Yang Xinxin. "Do you believe it?" Yang Xinxin shook her head. Her eyes were dark, and she said slowly, "After experiencing this kind of thing, it is impossible to maintain a normal mental state. If it were me, I would only think about destroying the whole world, or make the world what I want." Zhang Yi hugged his arms and took another deep breath. "Now, I can probably figure out some things. Before, I and others all thought that the snow worship sect suffered the most losses in this zombie crisis, because they lost nearly 10,000 believers." Zhang Yi changed the subject. "But now, I don't think that's the case. Maybe Yuan Kongye doesn't care about the lives of those people at all. Maybe she is deliberately using the deaths of those people to cover up her conspiracy." Yang Xinxin looked up at Zhang Yi. "Brother, do you have any evidence to prove this?" Zhang Yi's mouth curled up slightly. "There was no evidence before, but now there is." Zhang Yi was not in a hurry. He slowly told all the doubts he thought. "At the beginning, I knew that Yuan Kongye had multiple superpowers. Not multiple applications of the same superpower, but multiple completely unrelated abilities. Blessing, gift, superhuman physical fitness, and the ice and snow ability that makes me feel familiar." Zhang Yi crossed his arms and said lightly, "This is definitely abnormal. If she really has her own superpowers, there is no need to hide it until we fought the zombie tide for so long. But she never showed it to anyone, which means that these superpowers have unspeakable secrets. So I can conclude that those superpowers were taken from someone else, and the source is the ice soul separated from her body." Yang Xinxin's expression became serious. "If that's the case, no one can say how strong Yuan Kongye is now. Every mutant has its weaknesses, but if one person possesses the abilities of many people at the same time, she is almost invulnerable." Zhang Yi said, "So she longs for constant wars in Tianhai City. Because those who get Ice Soul are meaningless to her as long as they are alive. Only when they die, their abilities will be obtained by Yuan Kongye." Zhang Yi's heart moved, and his eyes became sharper. Perhaps the Great Purge is not only aimed at outsiders, there are also the group of people under her. After all, the Bai Shui cult also has a lot of mutants. And their death is a good thing for Yuan Kongye. Yang Xinxin nodded. Zhang Yi's analysis sounds very reasonable. However, it seems that there is still a lack of direct evidence to confirm this. Yang Xinxin said, "These alone cannot convince other forces at all, and the most important thing is that they cannot convince the investigation team. In this way, we can't go directly to Yuan Kongye to confront him." Zhang Yi lowered his eyes. His eyes were cold and deep. "But we can't be ostriches this time. With the help of the corpse tide, she has already reduced the combat effectiveness of our 4 families by more than half. Moreover, she gave us all ice spirits. This is a signal that she is about to take action against us. The only thing that makes them afraid now is the Jiangnan region. I'm afraid that once Bian Junwu and his men leave, the Bai Shui cult will take action. Zhang Yi said here, and reached out to take out a piece of white cloth from his trouser pocket. In addition, there is this thing which can prove that my suspicion is based on something. Yang Xinshin took the white cloth curiously and took a look. It was densely written with words. This is... Zhang Yi said, "This is given to me by Li Jian. This old guy secretly stuffed it into my hand the night before I left." Zhang Yi thought of Li Jian's desperate face like a dead tree. He couldn't help but sigh and said, "His son is dead. If it weren't for this, I think with his character he wouldn't risk telling me these things." Yang Xinshin carefully read the contents of the white cloth. It was a letter, but it was not written in ink, but in blood. The content of the letter is as follows. 28 days ago, my family of 3 and our neighbors were led by the great decree to the Bai Shui cult. Yuan Kongye knew my ability, and she took me to the abandoned building next to the church. There I saw a huge plant which they called Bloodvine. Yuan Kongye told me that my responsibility was to use my ability to cultivate it. My ability can accelerate the growth of plants, and the vitality of the plants cultivated by me is stronger. But gradually, I found that something was wrong with it. No, it was the whole Bai Shu cult that was wrong. First, after taking the red fruit produced by the blood vine, people's spirits will appear trance and excitement, similar to hallucinations. And each time the red fruit is distributed in the church, you have to listen to Yuan Kongye's teachings while eating the fruit. I suspect this is a hypnotic method to make believers loyal to her. Many cult organizations have always used drugs to induce hallucinations. I paid attention to it in my heart, and later discussed with my wife and children not to eat this kind of food. Fortunately, as a priest, I can also receive other supplies, so there is no problem with eating this. Although Zheng Yixian noticed my problem, they needed me, so they didn't ask me about it. They just reminded me once indirectly. Second, the blood vine itself is not a rhizome that can produce food. The people of the snow worship cult threw the corpse into the abandoned building where it was, and the blood vine would wrap the corpse to form a cocoon and absorb the nutrients. But I found that some cocoons are very special. They are larger than ordinary cocoons, and they will not gradually dry up but will continue to expand. It feels as if the energy of other cocoons has been absorbed to breed them. I once suspected that some strange creatures were bred in it, but when I went there again later, I couldn't see it anymore. I have a suspicion that those corpses are the source of the zombie virus, but this speculation has no basis. It is just my imagination. But if we can study the blood vine carefully, we should be able to know the truth of the matter. Third, Yuan Kongye is a lunatic. If the people who join the Bai Shu cult are underage boys, they will be subjected to a purification ceremony by her. In fact, it is to castrate them. I have never understood the meaning of this ceremony. Since we came here, I have also been worried that my children will be treated like this. Although we have always been very careful, we still couldn't escape the bad luck in the end. She is a terrible lunatic. Fourth, I once accidentally saw Yuan Kongye kill a female priest with her own hands. The female priest and I have a good relationship. She has always been cautious and has never done anything to anger Yuan Kongye. But that day, I saw her being strangled to death by Yuan Kongye by the neck. I don't know if these things are useful to you. My son is dead. I am very sad. As a father, I don't have the ability to help him avenge. But if one day the opportunity is right, I hope this information will be helpful to you. After Yang Xinshin finished reading Li Jian's letter, she slowly raised her head and looked at Zhang Yi. Only then did she understand why Zhang Yi was so sure that there was something wrong with Yuan Kongye. If that's the case, then I can understand everything she did. Zhang Yi crossed his arms and said calmly, Li Jian is closer to Yuan Kongye and the core of the Bai Shui sect than we are. What he can feel is very helpful to us. I think, combining these things together, it can almost be concluded that there are major problems with Yuan Kongye and the Bai Shui sect itself. The worst-case scenario is, as I said, the so-called Ice Soul is a huge conspiracy, and the generous gift is just for a better return. So she has reason to make Tianhai City chaotic and leave corpses everywhere, because the more people die, the faster she can recover her abilities. It is even possible that this massive zombie crisis is related to her. If it weren't for the timely arrival of the people from the Jiangnan district, she didn't dare to do it too blatantly. At this time, I'm afraid we are all in danger. Zhang Yi's eyes were full of fear. If Yuan Kongye really possessed such a terrifying power, no one in the entire Tianhai city would be able to be her enemy, not even Zhang Yi. The more people die, the more she benefits. So from the beginning, everyone was deceived by her. Yang Xinshin sighed lightly. Even most of the people in the Baishu cult were deceived by her and were willing to die for her. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. I think she should be an antisocial personality. Yang Xinshin looked at him and said faintly, with such a past, it's not strange no matter what she becomes, right? Zhang Yi took a deep breath. Yuan Kongye's experience was indeed miserable, but she can't be considered innocent. Everything has cause and effect. She was born in such a family and enjoyed the wealth brought by her parents' sins. Then what happened later can only be said to be karma. I'm not in the mood to pity her now. How to face her threat is what I care most about. Zhang Yi felt very heavy. The existence of such a mutant is like a mountain, suppressing the entire Tianhai city. At this point, Yuan Kongye doesn't know how many people's abilities have been absorbed. How strong is she? Zhang Yi couldn't imagine it, but he could be sure that it was definitely stronger than any other person in Tianhai city, including him, Zhang Yi. Yuan Kongye was almost invincible at this time, and this invincible existence would almost certainly attack them. Because she gave them Ice Soul, that was a signal to take action. It wasn't to ask Zhang Yi and the others to surrender, but to ask Zhang Yi and the others to die. Now we have to think of a way to deal with her threat. Zhang Yi raised his head and exhaled a long breath of turbid air, which was the anxiety accumulated in his heart. Yang Xinshin lowered his head and thought for a moment, then calmly said to Zhang Yi, if we want to deal with her, our strength alone is not enough. First, we must let other forces in Tianhai City know about Yuan Kongye's conspiracy. Secondly, and most importantly, we must get the support of the Jiangnan region. Because at this time in Tianhai City, after experiencing the war, each family has suffered heavy losses. Even if they unite, they may not be Yuan Kongye's opponent. Zhang Yi nodded. I understand all this, and what you said makes a lot of sense, but the problem is that even if I tell them what I think, they may not believe it. And for the Jiangnan district, even if Yuan Kongye has calculated everyone, what does it have to do with them? Zhang Yi sneered. As the most powerful force in the Jiangnan region, the Jiangnan district needs to maintain stability, not justice. Therefore, even if Yuan Kongye calculates us, as long as it does not affect the interests of the Jiangnan district, they have no reason to take action. Maybe they will recruit Yuan Kongye to work for them. As Zhang Yi spoke, his heart slowly sank. Without the support of the Jiangnan district, can they really win Yuan Kongye? He suddenly realized something. What if Jiangnan district really supports Yuan Kongye? What should we do? Zhang Yi even thought that if it really didn't work, he would agree to Bian Junwu's original proposal and take everyone around him to the Jiangnan district. Can't afford to provoke him. Can't he hide? But can he really give up the shelter he has been running for a long time so easily? Zhang Yi gritted his teeth. His expression was unusually tangled. Can't bear it. He really can't bear it. Here, he doesn't need to be restrained by anyone. He is free. But if you go to Jiangnan district, according to Bian Junwu, you will have to become a screw in Blizzard City. The right of residence needs to be exchanged for a price. Just look at Bian Junwu. Zhang Yi has a serious look on his face. If I go, I will die from overdrawing my superpower. If I don't go, I will be killed by Yuan Kongye. What should I choose?